In Star Trek, Strange New Worlds Season 3, Captain Christopher Pike, Anson Mount, attempts a USS Enterprise maneuver that usually means suicide. Strange New Worlds Season 2 ended with a cliffhanger as the Enterprise faced off against multiple Gorn ships, including a destroyer. As Captain Pike contemplates his next move, Admiral Robert Adrian Holmes, orders the Enterprise to withdraw, even if that means leaving several crew members trapped on the Gorn ship. Pike stops, unwilling to leave his people behind, but unsure how to proceed, just before the words "to be continued" appear on the screen. With the life of Captain Marie Battelle, Melanie Scrofano, hanging in the balance, Captain Pike faces his very own version of the Kobayashi Maru, but he's not facing it alone. At New York Comic-Con 2024, Paramount Plus debuted a new clip from Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 that reveals how Pike and his Starship Enterprise crew find a way to rescue their abducted crewmates. The clip not only highlights Pike's skills as a leader but also shows the bridge crew coming together to find a solution to their predicament. Captain Pike's suicide maneuver will rescue Enterprise's crew in Strange New Worlds Season 3. Captain Pike and his crew come up with a daring plan to save their friends. Like any good starship captain, Pike refuses to leave his people behind, so he immediately turns to his Starship Enterprise crew for suggestions on their next move. As everyone rattles off ideas, Pike forms a plan to escape the terrifying Gorn fleet while ensuring the Enterprise has a way to track it. Pike orders the Enterprise to ram the Gorn destroyer, not to destroy it, but to disrupt the ship's powerful shields. This will allow the Enterprise to fire a dummy torpedo into the Gorn ship that will act as a homing beacon, so Pike and his crew can track the ship and rescue their friends. Traditionally, a starship captain would only ram into another ship as a last-ditch effort when no other solutions were available. One starship ramming into another at high speeds is meant to destroy or severely cripple both ships, and is usually a suicide mission for the ship doing the ramming. Pike's plan not only avoids this unfortunate outcome but will also save his captured crew members. This clever solution was a collaborative effort on the part of the bridge crew and proves how strong Pike's crew is as a whole. Why Star Trek ramming speed usually means starship suicide. Ramming is usually reserved for a desperate last move. Throughout Star Trek's timeline, several different starship captains have ordered their ships to ram into another, usually as a way to prevent further destruction. In Star Trek First Contact, for example, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Michael Dorn, ordered the USS Defiant to ram into the Borg cube threatening Earth. At this point in the battle, the Defiant had already lost shields and weapons, and Worf had no other options. Thankfully, Captain Picard arrived with the USS Enterprise E in time to save the crew of the Defiant, before the TNG crew followed the Borg cube back in time. Star Trek ships usually only use ramming speed when all other options have been exhausted, meaning the ship has already suffered significant damage. A Starfleet captain would only order a suicide run if the stakes were incredibly high, such as to prevent an enemy from attacking Earth. Starships were obviously not built to ram into each other, and this desperate maneuver is usually only employed after the ship's shields have failed. Because of this, ramming into another ship often means suicide. Captain Pike and his crew have found a way around this in Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3. "Captain, we're losing containment on the warp core," Lieutenant Ortegas shouted from the helm, her fingers flying over the controls. "We have less than 5 minutes before a catastrophic breach." In that tense moment, Pike's mind flickered back to a legendary maneuver from his own past, one that had earned him both accolades and whispers of reckless abandon among Starfleet officers. The suicide maneuver, as it was colloquially known, was a last-ditch effort that risked everything to save the ship. But it was more than just a reckless tactic. It required precision, trust, and an unyielding belief in the crew's capabilities. "Mr. Spock, can we reroute auxiliary power to the warp core?" Pike asked, formulating his plan. "Affirmative, Captain, but it would require recalibrating several systems," Spock replied, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Do it," Pike ordered. "Ortegas, prepare to execute a full emergency stop. We'll create a gravity field to stabilize the core." "Captain, it's dangerous," Uhura interjected, concern etched on her face. If we miscalculate, then we'll have to be perfect, Pike said, his gaze fierce. We're not leaving anyone behind. With Spock guiding the recalibrations, Pike quickly outlined the maneuver. They would initiate the emergency stop, creating a counteractive gravitational pull to stabilize the failing warp core. It was a move that had worked in theory but had never been attempted under such dire circumstances. As Ortegas initiated the sequence, the ship trembled violently, lights flickering. The crew held their breath, tension filling the air. Now! Pike shouted, and Ortegas engaged the engines. In an instant, the Enterprise shuddered, and the warp core flickered ominously. Then, with a brilliant flash, the gravity field enveloped the core, pulling it into a controlled state. The alarm silenced, and the crew erupted into cheers. Status report, Pike demanded, a wave of relief washing over him. The warp core is stable, Captain, Spock confirmed, a rare hint of admiration in his voice. Impressive execution. Pike smiled, the danger averted, knowing this experience would shape his command for years to come. He had turned a potential disaster into a triumph, proving once again that in the vastness of space, hope and ingenuity were the true lifelines of Starfleet.